This is Raymond Hart of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, a lot of you in the viewing audience, you have known of the Hart brothers for years because we have been in pastored all over really this country and have traveled all over the world. Many people have said to us, why don't you write a book about the Hart family? Well, I've always felt like this. I don't want to glory in the Hart family. The thing that I want to glory in is in the Lord. But a lot of people have been pressing us to come on Facebook and talk about the Hart family. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start down with Daddy Hart, Maurice, Ralph, Doyle, Billy Joe, and I'm the youngest. And every day I'll talk a little bit about the one that I am to talk about, and today I want to talk about my daddy, Reverend J.M. Hart. Now, Daddy was born and raised an infidel. It's because when he was 3 and 5 years old, his mother and his father passed away, and he was given to his uncle, and his uncle was an infidel, did not believe in God, and Daddy was given to him, and he permitted him to go to school to the 3rd grade. But at the 3rd grade, he wouldn't permit him to go to school anymore because he was free help on the farm. So Daddy was raised without any kind of education and was raised by an uncle that did not believe that there was a God. So that was his lifestyle growing up. But he met Mama and they got married. And of course, he was a farmer. But Daddy never would permit Mama to go to church. But one day, Daddy came down at that time with the #1 killer, and that was tuberculosis. But not only did he have tuberculosis, but he had a cancer on his nose. And he was doing pretty good as a farmer himself because he was raised really from a kid to be a good farmer. And he was going to the doctor, and finally there come a time that the doctor said, there's no more that I can do for you. But there was a man by the name of Brother O.W. Edwards that came to that part of East Texas where Daddy lived, around Farmersville and Gano, well, all them places in East Texas. And the revival broke out under a brush arbor. Well, you know, when revival breaks out, people's going to know about it, and you don't have to advertise through radio, television, newspapers or anything. And Daddy began to hear about people that were getting healed. And he, of course, he didn't know nothing about God and never been to church, raised an infidel. But one day he came in and he said to Mama, because there had been so much publicity among the people, among the great revival that was going on, that people were getting healed and saved. And Daddy came in and said to Mama, let's go down to that brush arbor. Well, Mama said she liked to have a heart attack. And of course she said yes. But at that time there was 2 girls and 1 boy that were born in the Hart family. The 2 girls, Lena and Alma, and our oldest brother, Sonny, we called him, but his name was Horace Monroe. And so they were all raised without God. They all got grown and got married and got away from Mom and Daddy when Daddy was still an infidel, so they knew nothing about God. But I want to tell you, all 3 of them were saved before the Lord took them home. But getting back to Daddy. Daddy went down this revival, and I'm quite some people saw Daddy coming in, they almost had a heart attack. See, Daddy's name was James Milby Hart, and everybody called him Cussin' Mill. He was what they call a cusser. Every other word was almost profanity. But he sat there, and Brother Edwards got ready to preach, and here's what he said. There's an individual, didn't say man or woman, he said there's an individual that is in this revival tonight that God has given, that God has said that doctors have given you up to die, and if you don't get a miracle from the Lord, you're going to die. Now, Daddy didn't know nothing about God, didn't know nothing about the Spirit of God. But he leaned over to Mama and said, I believe that's me. She said, well, if that's you, you go up there and let the man pray for you. Well, Daddy went up I'm quite some other people almost had a heart attack when they saw James Milby Hart going up to let a man of God pray for him. When he got there, here's what Brother Edwards said. He said, "You're not a Christian, are you?" And Daddy said, "I don't know nothing about Christianity. I don't even know if there is a God." Here's what Brother Edwards said. He said, "Unless you give your heart and life to God, God's not going to heal you of this disease." Daddy said, "If there is a God and he can do what you say he can do, I will serve him the rest of my life." Well, Brother Edwards prayed the sinner's prayer with him. Daddy prayed the sinner's prayer with him. And Daddy stood there, and Brother Edwards laid hands on him and prayed for him. And here's what Brother Edwards said: "Go home, go to bed, you're well." Well, Daddy came home, and do you know he got up the next day and went out in the field? And all of a sudden he come running to the house, and Mama thought he'd lost his mind. He come running to the house, and he ran past Mama, went into the bedroom. He was tearing up the bed. And Mama got in there and said, "Mib, what in God's name is wrong with you?" He said, "Mother," he said, "I was out there in the field working, and I've come to the conclusion that I am well. I have not coughed one time. I have not coughed up blood. I reached up on my face to scratch my nose, and that cancer is gone." He was looking for it. He thought it fell off from the bed. He was looking for it, and God healed Daddy of that day of cancer and of tuberculosis. You know what he did? He went to the medicine cabinet and he throwed out every bit of the medicine that was in our house. I never had an aspirin until I was in the military. Never had a drop of medicine in my lifetime till I was in the military. And you know what? He said to Mama, "We're going to trust God just like I trusted the devil." And you know, from that day forward, there were 5 boys that were born: Maurice, Ralph, Doyle, Billy Joe, myself. We were all born in a home with families that knew God, and we were raised in the house of God. Now I want to say today that Daddy's gone on to be with the Lord, but he's up there in heaven rejoicing. And this is all that I have to say about the Hart family today. Tomorrow I will be talking about Brother Maurice, but I want you to know this wonderful thing, that God is as real today as he always has been. And I say, may God bless you until we meet again.